Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right?
Titania.
Titania. Okay. All right.
It's Titania Jordan. So I'm here with Robby Gulri, CMO of Engage.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is great. I was really excited to know you were coming in, especially because my world is heavily entrenched in AI, and so is yours. Let's kick this show off by talking about why Engage. I heard that you had a lot of opportunities, and Engage was very lucky to have you land there.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it was very simple. I kind of combine everything that I hold dear to my heart. One is kind of the engineering, mathematics, data side of the house. I have an engineering and mathematics background from Georgia Tech.
Cool. Oh, nice.
Somehow I stumbled my way into marketing. That's a longer story.
That's funny.
So Engage really spoke to me over and above the other opportunities that I was considering before I started with the company. I've been with the company officially since February, so it hasn't been that long, but I feel like I've been with the organization a lot longer than I really have.
Wow.
For us, it was really moving away from the general fears that are usually associated with AI, kind of that FUD factor, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Right.
And it's really a very humanistic application to AI. Ultimately what we're trying to do over and above all the mathematics and data and all of that is to fix a fundamental problem that we all can relate to. I'm sure you've been in positions and jobs where you're just not happy and you can't figure out why. And so there's a misalignment between you, a talented human being, with the organization that you work within. And so what we're really trying to do is we're trying to help people to find their true passions in life and fix some of those misalignment issues. People ask me all the time, well, what do you guys do? And I start with very simply, we do talent sort of targeting, and sort of after we target, we do the identification, and then we get into engagement. So how do you do that? Well, you help the talent acquisition people and the recruiters and the executive search firms out there really help them identify and target the right candidates to go after.
So you start with the talent, which you outlined, and then talk more about the second, third, and fourth part of that process?
Sure. So, there's a number of people that we look at in the market as sort of passive candidates. I usually don't like to use the word passive, but it's a fairly good description of what it really is, which is there's the vast majority of individuals, especially in a job market like we are in today, where you have 1.8% or less of the job market sort of not unemployed, actually employed in a productive sort of sense, especially information workers. So it's hard to find good talent, and most of the good talent is passive. They're not looking. They don't have their resumes up on LinkedIn or
Yes.
Indeed or any of the job boards out there. So that's a great opportunity for people to obviously engage with those type of passive candidates. And so for us, it's all about targeting. So perfect anecdote to kind of what I'm talking about. Our head of products, Kristen, who recently joined us with the company, fantastic, highly talented, highly skilled. She's been doing product management for a number of years, and she never knew about Engage. She never submitted a resume to us. She was coming from another company, Equifax. Obviously, Equifax is having some issues in the market, and so we identified her, and we were able to engage her, talk to her, and really position her with personalized messaging that sort of targeted her a little bit better. She was looking for a stable, cultural sort of fit environment, and she wanted to get her hands really dirty and really fix some and build some really interesting product. And so, long story short, Kristen joined us right after I did, and we've been very happy with that. And that's a sort of the analogy in the tech world is eat your own dog food. We definitely eat our own dog food to help attract talent within our organization as well.
Absolutely. As you're talking, I keep hearing nods towards the name of the company, right? You engaged, Kristen, engaged talent.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when a brand is cohesive, and
Yes.
that falls under your umbrella, so kudos.
Well, I can't take credit for the name. I tell Johanna, who's our CEO, over and above anything I could do from a marketing standpoint, I like to think of myself as a pretty good marketer, but over and above any of that is the name of the company, Engage Talent. You can't have a conversation about talent and talent acquisition and passive candidates without using those two words. And we've just combined those two words, and that's our domain, engagetalent.com.
It works well.
Right.
Awesome, engagetalent.com. You recently raised, I see here, $3 million to accelerate innovation of AI-powered recruiting. So A, congrats.
Thank you.
And B, talk about how you use AI to do that.
Yeah. So first of all, on the raise, very exciting. Revolution Funds, this is a Steve Case fund, looking at companies outside of major metropolitan areas. That's the other thing I really like about the Engage Talent story, is we didn't start in New York or Chicago or Silicon Valley or Atlanta. It started in Charleston, South Carolina. And if you've been to Charleston, love Charleston, right?
Big place in my heart for Charleston.
Well,
I have family there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next time you're there, we'll take care of you for sure. So the company started in Charleston, and the fund was really aligned to find organizations and companies that were doing some really interesting things in technology, in AI, in innovation, and help them grow. Outside of, again, the major metropolitan areas. And so obviously we've opened up an office here in Buckhead, along with the Charleston office. So the raise helped us kind of expand the footprint of the organization. Outside the raise, for us, it's really all about just making sure that we, from an AI perspective, capture the entire data journey. I love to call it data. It is really a data journey.
Yeah.
Having just a resume or a bank of resumes isn't enough.
Right.
We're not, and we don't collect resumes. We basically look at a profile of an individual. So within our system, we have over 100 million candidates of some kind across all industries.
Wow.
So it's not just healthcare or
Right.
IT or financial services. It's across all industries. We then marry that with business data, right? Because think about it. You work for a company, and something happens to the company. Leadership changes, what we call business shocks. Once a business shock occurs, that's going to impact you. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. If you're working for the CMO and there's a new CMO, that's going to impact you potentially, right? So we capture all of that data. And then obviously these companies exist within industries, and so we capture data on the industries as well. So it's a lot of data. In any given day, there's 5 million data point changes on our system. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to find relationships and anomalies and sort of dependencies between the individual and the individual profile with the organizations they work for, both private and public entities, and then find tidbits of insights that we can feed to the recruiter and the executive searcher, as well as the talent acquisition professional within Fortune 500 companies, to allow them to engage,
Right.
hence the name, these individuals in a much more effective way.
So, two questions which may be outside the scope of what we're talking about today, but I'm just fascinated. One, how big is your data science team? And two, how long did it take to build the algorithm for this specific industry?
Let me start with the algorithm first.
Okay.
The algorithm is a continual developing
Always,
and
with the
heuristic and approached sort of model. It sort of grows over time, if you will. It evolves over time. Christy Whitehead, who's our head of data science, also a Clemson PhD.
Wow.
Fantastic. She's a brilliant data scientist. She's got a team of people in Charleston. We have some folks offshore as well that are true sort of data analysis people. So that's sort of the team. And like I said earlier, the algorithms and the mathematics sort of change as more data comes in. And as an engineer, I'll speak as an engineer for a minute. We learned early on in our engineering school is you have to have a feedback loop, right?
Yes.
So something happens in a system, that data gets fed back into the system to make sure that we can test and validate reality to what our sort of predictions were. And we constantly are looking at so that feedback loop and just improving the model as we go.
That is so cool. It's obvious to me how Engage Talent stands apart based on the innovative things you're doing. What do you have on the horizon? What's next for this year and beyond?
Yeah, for us, I'll talk a little bit about product. not too much about product. I don't intend this to be a sales pitch, but
it's okay if it is. If what you got is good, you need to tell people about it.
Absolutely. We think we have a fantastic solution, especially if you're looking for candidates in all the wrong places. I think you should check us out for sure. But other than that, we constantly are collecting feedback from our clients, and we have some really good clients. And for those of you who will watch this, thank you for being our client. And we constantly are looking at feedback. And one of the things we hear often is we want to add more recruitment marketing capabilities, sort of what marketing automation brings today to the market, Marketo and other companies.
Yes.
We want to include some of those capabilities into the platform. And so we're continually evolving that sort of capability. What basically we've added in the last couple of iterations of the product is just better email synchronization. So within the platform, not only can you target the individual based on whatever search criteria you have, you can understand the dynamics of the company they work for, news and alerts and all those things, market analysis. You can also email them directly from the system. And by the way, while you're emailing them, it feeds you insights into what to say to that individual. So if that person, like me, I'm in my mid-40s, I care more about culture and fit more so than I do compensation. Now, compensation is important, but it's not the most important, not like what it was when I was in my 20s.
Right.
So while that's sort of going on and I'm composing that message in a personalized, natural language way, I can feed that data into the system. So we're constantly evolving that capability. And then, data. It's all about the data. So we're constantly looking at new ways and innovative ways to combine and aggregate and look at data in ways that we haven't looked at before. So on the horizon, you'll just see more capability and accuracy and scale from the data that we bring to the table.
That's so cool. Were you at Dig South this year?
I was not.
I know. I couldn't make it. I had a family
Yeah.
situation come up, but I've been there every year before, and maybe next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll see you there next year.
Yeah, that would be
Yes,
great.
Yes.
And so, do you spend more time in Atlanta or Charleston or?
Atlanta. We
Yeah.
have an office here. We've got a great sales team, as well as kind of SaaS accounting folks
Yes.
as well on the team. Very important in a SaaS business. And then Charleston is Christy's there, Kristen's there, Joe's there. Eric, our senior leadership, as well as another sort of subset of a sales team. And so I'm going to Charleston for a couple of days next week.
That must be terrible.
Yeah, hopefully the weather cooperates, but it should be fine. Get on the water a little bit. But I do spend most of my time here, and I travel quite a bit. Professionally, we're doing a conference in Miami coming up here early
Nice.
June. So Miami's not a bad city to go to.
Not at all.
We'll be in Boston at the Bullhorn Engage. It's actually, the conference is called Engage. It's a nice coincidence, so
Yeah.
we're happy about that. We'll be in Boston, and we'll be showing off our capabilities there. And then personally, I'm headed to Vancouver for a few days this weekend.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. The website again is engagetalent.com.
That is correct.
Beautiful. And I always like to ask anybody who sits in the hot seat, what can we do to help you? Whether it's 3CI, the audience watching on YouTube, across the globe. What can we do for you? How can we help you, either personally or professionally?
Personally, just reach out. I'm on LinkedIn constantly. For those of you who know me, I'm always posting something, whether it's about me, about my world, and the company. I'm constantly there, so reach out if you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, feedback. I don't know all the answers. I never profess to know all the answers, so I love to get some feedback on what we're doing well, and more importantly, what we're not doing so well. So professionally, check us out. Again, this is not a sales pitch. I really want you to sort of think about the world and how it's changing and how rapidly it's changing, not just in the area of recruiting, in talent acquisition, but across every aspect of our personal and professional lives, how data and AI and machine learning and all of those sort of buzzwords are really impacting you day to day. I use Alexa at home on any given minute. Every time I'm home, I'm using Alexa to do something. Turn off my lights, turn off my TV, listen to music, find the weather, and that's just one small example. So if you look at kind of the how that's applied into the business world, things are changing on a rapid sort of basis as well. So professionally, just look out for us, and if we can help you with your talent acquisition needs, regardless of the size. We have companies that are Fortune 500 brands that you'll recognize globally, but we also have small executive search firms and recruiting organizations and RPOs. So if anybody who's interested in sort of talent acquisition, check us out. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to geek out for a minute with you, because you're talking about some things and you're like totally speaking my language.
Yes.
So do you have a Sonos, or do you have the Echo, or like what sort of music playing device do you have in your home?
So at the house, I got an Echo. I also have an Echo Dot in the bathroom. I also have I have a movie theater that I built myself in the house, so I'm an AV kind of guy.
Nice.
So I have some pretty interesting equipment in there, including another Echo Dot that's connected to my receiver, which is then connected to the real system.
Yeah.
In the office, we have an Echo as well, and so we're always jamming to music. So if you come by the office in Buckhead, you'll always hear some new tune for the day. I'm a tech guy, so I'm a gadget guy. I'm an Apple guy, so my MacBook, there you go. Just got my, same thing. My iPhone X and my MacBook Pro and my Apple Watch, just like you.
Yep.
So
do you have the AirPods?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
They're so great.
They're great.
They're so
They're
great.
Yeah. I look a little funny in them, but it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm totally over that. What about like smart home, connected home? Do you have a Ring doorbell?
I do not. I'm waiting. I'm most likely going to be moving a little bit more in town. I live in East Cobb right now. Love the area, but I just want to be a little closer to town. And so when I get my new residence, I'll definitely wire it with Ring and all the other sort of more home automation stuff that's out there.
I have just started to delve into the world. I started with music and Sonos and Alexa. Just got the Ring. It's insane. It is insane. I can literally just open up the app and press live view and see what's going on at my front door. Like, I love living in 2018. Don't have a smart thermostat yet, and there's a few other things. I need to get smart locks, etc. But one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Right.
How do you stay on top of trends, both in the space of a CMO, but also in AI and data and talent and culture? What are some things that you are subscribing to and reading that maybe we can also?
I like to read. I like usually a book a week is. I try to do a couple a week, but that's hard given my schedule.
Yeah.
But a book a week. Recently, I read a book called Life 3.0, and it's not a technical book. It's written by a very technical individual out of MIT, but it's really a more philosophical book about how life was when we first started in humanity to where life went and it is today and where it's sort of going. It looks at both the negative and potentially positive implications to AI and what the author Max Treadwell refers to as AGI, artificial general intelligence. The example he gives in the book I thought was fascinating is, if I tell a machine, an Uber, autonomous Uber or Lyft or whatever, hey, as quickly as you can, take me to the SunTrust Field for the Braves game. What I'm really saying is, get me there really fast, but don't kill me in the process. Don't run over a pedestrian
P.S.
while you're doing that. But I don't say that, right?
Right.
I'm just saying get me there really quickly, as fast as you can. And so that's where we're progressing and where machines are progressing, where context is very important.
Very.
And so I thought that book was quite interesting and very related to what we do, again, in the talent space. I'm online constantly. So Flipboard is my favorite app. It's on my homepage of the of my iPhone, and when I have a minute, I'm constantly flipping through various articles and subjects on not only AI, but philosophy, Buddhist principles. I read a lot about Eastern sort of Buddhist principles, so I read a lot about that. I read a lot about where I'm originally from, which is India. I read a lot about Sikhism, which is my sort of birth religion. So it just sort of, it all sort of connects to me, and try to bring that to my personal life as well as my professional life as well.
I love that, especially when you are in an executive level position and this sort of space, there's so much noise, and it's you've got to be very intentional about cutting through the clutter
Yes.
to get the good content.
Yes.
So I always love to hear, how you're receiving it and what has resonated with you. So that I'm going to look up that book.
Yeah. The other thing that I joke, but it's not really a joke. I learned how to speak English watching the Atlanta Braves when I moved here.
Wow.
And I used to turn down the volume on my little 12-inch black and white rabbit ears and watch. It wasn't even TBS. It was Channel 17 on UHF. And
Right there with you.
Right
there
oh,
with you.
You're not old enough to know
I
that.
just might be.
So the Braves are my way of just chilling and relaxing and not thinking about anything. It's just nice background noise,
Yeah.
especially this year. The team's doing well, and it's just exciting to see.
Awesome. Well, Robby Gulri, CMO, Engage Talent. That's engagetalent.com. We'll have a link in the description below. Look him up on LinkedIn. Dude is sharp. Twitter too, right?
Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook, LinkedIn.
All the places.
Whatever. Instagram.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Instagram.
Yes.
Robby, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that we did not cover while
No.
cameras are on and we're live?
I think I really appreciate you doing this, and I can't wait to show it off to the people that care.
Awesome. Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
Thank
Such
you
a
so
pleasure.
much. Thank you. Take care.